Welcome to Midweek News, episode 129. Let's get started. Microsoft Build 2025. Highlights include on-device AI models accessed through Edge, a coding agent, and model context protocol support. To me, this seems buzzword-laden. If Microsoft didn't make it so flippin' hard to turn off its AI, I might be less pessimistic about it. Fender Studio software supports Linux. Linux users now have another digital audio workstation option available to them. Fender Studio caters to more casual creators looking to get started quickly. This is a great development. Of course, Fender Studio is also available for macOS and Windows users. AMD announced Radeon 9060 XT and FSR 4 upgrade. This was one of the bigger announcements that came from Computex 2025. It is nice that AMD is not only holding its own in the mid-range GPU market, but is also giving Intel pressure on the low-end discrete GPU market. The two models at suggested prices of $299 and $349 US will be attractive to many budget-constrained buyers. This development will also be great for those building a PC specifically for running Bazite or other SteamOS-inspired Linux distributions, which have much better support for AMD GPUs. Fedora 43 is going Wayland-only. Fedora has traditionally been the cheerleader for Wayland, so it makes sense that it's one of the first to move to our Wayland-only future. Fedora 43 is set to come equipped with GNOME 49. I would expect by spring 2026 many other Linux distributions will likely be moving in the Wayland-only direction. High Tide for Linux gains new features. This is an unofficial title client for Linux. This is still a project under heavy development. Even in its relatively early state, High Tide makes a great alternative to the Tidal web client. I have not really played with Tidal for music up to this point, but this application has definitely piqued my interest. Signal declares war on Microsoft recall. From the nobody asked for recall files, Signal is taking a stand against the intrusive technology from Redmond. The Signal team has activated a Windows 11 specific DRM flag that completely blacks out Signal's chat window when a screenshot is attempted. I would hope that Signal is just the first of many products to take a stand like this. AROS turns any PC into an Amiga. Yes, it's been more than 30 years since Commodore went bust, and the Amiga was unceremoniously killed in the process. AROS, the AROS Research OS, has been around for nearly that whole period. The new x86-64 port was released in April, with other versions running on x86-32, Motorola 68K, PowerPC, and ARM architectures. The image is a 3.2 gigabyte download, which decompresses to a 16 gig disk image. I am looking forward to grabbing a copy of this and giving it a spin. Empty Pocket. You've probably heard the news that Mozilla is shutting down Pocket. Hot on the heels of this news was an offer from Dig co-founder to take over Pocket. I never really used Pocket very much, but the idea of having bookmarks available on any platform using any browser is the reason why I've been trying to use LinkedIn more lately. There are several alternatives out there that might be compelling for people to take a look at. There are even some utilities popping up that allow you to convert your Pocket data into a more portable format. OpenMediaVault news. This is mostly news about the Kubernetes functionality in OpenMediaVault. ClamAV got a bump to fix a configuration issue. A new Kubernetes recipe for speed test has also been added. Hopefully this is a trend that will continue. It's great to see more OMV news lately. Rhino Linux unveils KDE-based UBXI desktop. The short version is that Rhino is expanding beyond its roots on the XFCE desktop. This marks the first official expansion of the Unicorn Beyond XFCE initiative. As part of this initiative, the Rhino team has also rewritten their package manager and bumped it to version 2. Linux kernel 6.16 includes a lot of GPU enhancements. Lots of changes coming in version 6.16 revolve around GPU enhancements. Whether you're using a GPU for AI or gaming, this should be a welcome change. All three players in the discrete GPU market are covered: AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA. You can find some of these changes listed in the article. Of course, the changelogs are going to be more up to date. Backing up Proxmox VMs. This is a nice guide for complete beginners on Proxmox. There are always going to be multiple ways to achieve the goal of backups. This article focuses on just one of them. Definitely worth a look if you're new to Proxmox. Apple's touchbar may be dead, but Flexbar resurrects the concept. Yes, the Flexbar is exactly what you would expect. A standalone touchbar work-alike that has cross-platform support. The project started on Kickstarter and is currently shipping. You can pre-order it now from their website to get 25% off. Besides Mac and Windows support, they have seen fit to launch the Linux support in the form of an app image. No, I have not yet seen any indication about running Doom on this. With Linux support, this is an intriguing device I will be keeping an eye on once the hands-on reviews start coming in. Microsoft open sources Windows Subsystem for Linux. Perhaps one of the most interesting pieces of news to come out of Build 2025 is that Microsoft has open sourced WSL. Microsoft claims, quote, "it decided to open source the technology to drive it forward," unquote. WSL has been one of the few technologies from Windows 10 or 11 that have made either of them remotely usable for me. I'm interested to see where this will lead in the coming years. Microsoft revives DOS-era edit in a modern shell. In a move that is surprising and yet somehow compelling, Microsoft is reviving the old edit command, which traces its history back to DOS 5.0. This is a nice development. I've always thought it was silly to have to launch a graphical editor in Windows when you only wanted to change a single line in a text file. This will certainly be useful to many people. There are Linux versions available if you can stomach using a Microsoft editor on Linux. And that, my friends, will bring us to the end of episode 129. Onwards and upwards. Thanks for watching.